Aloha Shamans, and welcome to our little corner of the galaxy. Today is March 8th, 2026, and we're here for a special show, Simply Shaman series of intuition. And we're here with our very good friend and shaman, Heidi Fire Owl. Hi, Heidi. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Gail. Thanks for having me.
So this will be the second episode in the series. I've contacted 7 shamans, so hopefully all 7 will be able to give us their interpretation of what intuition is. And now Heidi, the interesting thing with her is Heidi is a fire sign. She's an Aries. So I think you're among the only ones that now we have another shaman that's air, but you're the only fire sign that we have. And you're very intuitive because I've known you for over 20 years and that's quite a bit. And because I've always wondered what kind of water element you have in your astrology chart, and you have very little. So your intuitive skills have come from somewhere else, at star person ancestry or something that you have.
Yeah.
And then Heidi, for a day job, then you used to be, or I guess you still do that. You do massage therapy, right?
Yes.
By appointment, and
sometimes.
Heidi's contact info in the show notes. I've got her email, just contact her. And also, you're a modern day frontier woman, right? So you do canning and you make stuff and crafts and have a little shaman shack and you do all kinds of things. And you're now, are you a certified wellness coach or health coach or nutrition coach? What's the designation?
So I'm a board certified holistic health practitioner. And that just involves a little bit of all of it, but mostly I do bioenergetic healing.
Yes.
And that just deals with, helping people get to the root cause of their issues.
Yeah, that's great. Yes. And because, with all the medical things that are turning around now and doctors are moving towards more metabolic health, that's a wonderful thing. But of course, you've been doing this for years. So you're already ahead of the curve. And Heidi has clients. She does has clients on she can do a chat. She can do a video with you. So she's been quite around a while. And so thank you for your service as a healer.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
What we're going to talk about tonight then is going to be about intuition and trying to define intuition and how we can maybe the rest of us who maybe not be as intuitive as you are. Maybe there's some little hints that we can gain tonight to help us to develop that particular skill. Okay. Let's try it. Okay, so here we are. It is March 8th, 2026, our Simply Shaman series, Intuition with Shaman Heidi Fire Owl. And I'm Dale Stacy. I'll be your host tonight. I'm the Co-Abbot of EarthStar Spiritual Center in Greensboro, North Carolina, United States of America. And this is us. We've been doing the church part since 2002. We opened up a Tai Chi center in 1999 and then decided we could do a church in 2002, so we did that. We are a multi-faith church. We're Living Aloha. And to the left there, you see our acronym for what Aloha means to us: all living God, love, oneness, heart path, and as above, so below. And another focus for us is planetary awareness to galactic consciousness, trying to help everyone to be about that ascension consciousness, seeing how we're all moving towards the 4th density or 4th dimension. That's where we are. Okay, and these are some of the topics that we discuss on Sundays at 11:11. So join us on Sundays for Cosmic Shaman Aloha Consciousness. I'll have a little lesson, about 30 minutes to an hour. So every Sunday at 11:11. So go ahead and like and subscribe this video and subscribe to the channel. That would be wonderful. Thank you. And some of the books that we've written, if you need some help, would like to peruse some of these books with shamanism. That started with the books in 2020 and goes to 2025. So I have 5 books there about the Simply Shaman series to help you with many, many different types of shamanism and to help further your practice. Right, and another group that we belong to, I like to promote, and that's Connecting Consciousness with Simon Parks. Now, he lives in England, but this association has over 100,000 members in over 100 countries. So Simon is going to be one of the organizations that is able to disperse and promote humanitarian projects. So as we begin to enter the golden age of America and the world, the prosperity and abundance, I want to make sure that you are willing to serve in the way that you know how to serve as a shaman. Okay. So how do you currently serve, and how will you serve in the future? So make sure you have those skills and you're ready to go, because it can happen at any time. So make sure you're aware of your earth superpowers, your abilities, gifts, goals, powers, skills, and talents. These are your superpowers, and you're the only person in the entire universe that does your superpowers in your unique fashion. So we have to have your input. So as a shaman, an awakening shaman, make sure you know what your earth superpowers are. And we'll probably have a class on this sometime in May. So we'll talk to you a little more about that later as the time gets closer. Okay. All right, so intuition then, that's what we're here to talk about tonight with Heidi. Let me blow this up for you so you can see it. So if we want to have a 3D definition that comes out of the dictionary, intuition would be the power or attaining knowledge or cognition without evident rational thought. Another way to say that would be quick and ready insight. So that's a dictionary 3D definition. But now we want to hear from Heidi, given all of her intuitive experience that she has in her daily life, because she uses quite a bit, because Heidi, Jeanne, and I, we maintain contact quite a bit, and we try to stay abreast of all the wonderful spiritual things that are going on. So we want to hear her take on defining intuition. How long has she known that she was an intuitive? And what does it feel like to be intuitive? How does she increase or evolve or train her intuition? And then the last one is, what could she give us some advice or suggestions on how others and what they could do to be more intuitive? Right, so let me bring Heidi back on. So that first question then, Heidi, with all your wonderful frontier woman wisdom, help us from your perspective to define intuition. So I know we're defining something that's subjective in the 3D words. That's tough sometimes, but let's give that a try. So define intuition.
So for me, intuition, and what, if I'm teaching people to tap into their intuition, for me, it is an inner knowing. And it's just a feeling sense that we have. So it's not anything that it's not anything that requires thought. It's not linear. It's not rational.
Yes.
It's certainly not rational. But it's just an inner knowing, a gut feeling, a feeling sense, something, hair standing up on the back of your neck, things like that. That to me defines intuition.
Yes. Okay. And for you, when you define intuition, do you receive this intuition? Is it inner sight, or do you hear something, or do you just sense something with your entire body and your energy field?
So really what happens for me first is I'm extremely visual. So visions come to me first, and then senses, feeling things. But more so than anything, I will get visions of words that look like maybe stencil words, or I'll get objects or things like that. And then it will lead me to ask a question to clarify.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Excellent.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Very much makes sense. Yes. So as far now, we had this discussion last time with Mike, our other shaman, first shaman, and we got on the topic of imagination. So to you, when you see these things, it's not your imagination conjuring up things you actually see something that you had no part in creating it, so to speak, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's usually always, it's always something that it's random. And if I told anybody what I was seeing, sometimes if I'm doing, if I have a client, occasionally I will ask them, do you know anything about a blue bowl? Or that just comes to mind because I had a client that I was helping her with her horse, and that's what came up. Just a blue ball, a bowl, like a little tiny bowl. And of course, she's like, yes, I know exactly what that is. Yeah. So it'll be things like that come up. And then also too, mine it's immediate. It'll just come, and I just know. It's just an overwhelming feeling. That's why I say it's like a feeling sense. It's just an overwhelming feeling. And a lot of times I feel it here. Mm-hmm. And so it comes in that, and pictures and words will come. Okay. But it's not my imagination.
Not your imagination. Okay. So when you say that it comes from here, are you talking about your heart space?
I believe so. Yeah. When I think about it, that's what it feels like.
Yes.
It feels like my heart space, like it. And so what I feel almost is like, it's almost like somebody has a belt or something around me and kind of squeeze it a little bit, like a little tightness, heaviness or feeling, but it's just a feeling in this area that I get that I know.
Yeah. That's interesting, because when I feel ghosts or spirits that they've crossed over, but they're still hanging out. When I feel that, when I go to a place, I feel it like from the waist down, but that's exactly what it feels like. Yes, it's like a tightening of the belt. I feel this pressure. And that way I know, well, that's a ghost as opposed to a star person type of energy, because that's very excited, electric type energy that I feel in the upper part of the body. But that the ghost thing with the belt, that would describe that for me exactly. So thank you for that. Yes. Wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Outstanding. Okay. So that was a great definition. All right. So the second question then is, how long have you known that you were intuitive? And could you give examples of that? Did this come in childhood or later on in adult life?
So when I think back on it, I have been intuitive my whole life. I can think of things that happened when I was little in school, or in fact, my dad told me that when I was about maybe 4 years old, I told him, and I used to play out these stories all the time. And I had this story all the time. And I used to tell my mom and dad that I am going to be a beach bum, and that I'm going to have a Jeep, and that I'm going to adopt 2 Chinese daughters. Okay. And so and I was very specific. That I was going to be like a water bum, like live like by the water and be like a bum. And I was going to drive a Jeep, and I was going to adopt these 2 Chinese daughters. And then when I forget how old I was when I moved to the lake, but I ended up moving to the lake. I got a Jeep, and I got 2 Chinese Shar-Peis. Not even thinking, it wasn't, I didn't do that planned. That's just how my life played out. And then my dad said, you know what? You always told us that they always thought I was a bum because I didn't have a real job, So I'm like a bum because I don't have a real job. So my dad's like, he's like, you told us when you were 4 years old, you told us that you were gonna, that this is how your life was gonna be. And he's like, and look at you now, like, So yeah, I always had this and other things, through adolescence and things like that. I didn't know that at the time that that's what that was, until I got older and I actually understood. And also too, yes, there's several examples of my intuitiveness that actually, I can tell you 3 instances exactly that saved my life, from being kidnapped. And that's not a joke. That is true story. So yeah, there were 3 incidences that, where, yes, my intuitiveness, and I was like, okay, this is for real. But then also too, with clients, just having the confirmation, having a client and then going through their sessions with them. And the funny thing is when they hear things that they don't want to hear, they'll say, oh, no, that didn't, nope, that's not the case, or that didn't happen, or whatever. And then I will get a text message later that says, you know what, you were on point with the, pancreatitis, or the new person in the house that made my dog aggressive, or whatever, So there's so many examples that I have, yes. But, again, I didn't know when I was little, I didn't know that I was intuitive. But then once I got older and learned about intuition, because I didn't know what it was when I would know things, right. I just thought that I was overly paranoid, or, I don't know. I didn't know what it was.
Right. And who do you talk to about that as a kid? I mean,
And that is exactly right. Because, honestly, I had so many experiences as a child that I just got called crazy all the time. Like, she's just, that's just Heidi. That's what I heard all the time. That's just Heidi, So yeah, it got minimized. And but the cool thing is that my mother was extremely clairvoyant. She had premonitions all the time. Literally, she'd show up at an accident site that, like, before I would have the accident, or she would be on her way there knowing that I was going to have an accident or something. And so my mom was extremely intuitive and extremely clairvoyant. And so she never questioned any of my stuff. My dad always just thought, like, I had pretend friends. I had shenanigans, I was crazy, whatever. So yeah, but yeah, so growing up, I did not know what that was until I got older.
So when most little girls are playing with their tea sets and Barbies, you're out conjuring this life by the waterfront with some Chinese folks and doing all sorts
my
of
two Chinese daughters, okay? Yes.
So even then you had that water sense. That's amazing. You had that water thing in that water essence in your energy field. So
well, look, I mean, we had a creek across the street from our house, Cub Run Creek. And I literally lived in that creek, like barefoot in my underwear all the time, collecting salamanders, and I'd collect them in a Cool Whip bowl and bring them back to the house, okay, and turtles. And I'd bring them all back to the house, and I would create this, and I'd bring moss back from the woods. And I would create this little, with rocks around where our chimney was to our fireplace. And I'd create this little thing, and I'd bring them all there, thinking they're all going to stay, okay? And then I would put them all there, and I'd go back in the house, and I'd come out, and they're all gone. And I'm like, what the heck? No.
We don't need Barbie dolls. We have real nature.
Yes. Yeah, so that it's always been, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. As you think back as a child, was there a particular age where it really kind of kicked in? I mean, course, a child may not be able to define that like we could as adults, but
Yeah.
as you look back now, like first grade or before that, you think at that point you had already developed the skill?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I think about things that happen in kindergarten, in the class, like with some of the other kids, or especially we moved to these apartments when I was little, and I just remember I didn't have any friends my age. I think I was only 6 maybe, because I was in kindergarten and first grade. And then we moved again when I was in the second grade. So in kindergarten and first grade, my friends were 16-year-old girls from the apartment complex, because I had such like an imagination, or, I had all this stuff to tell, and, just playing with kids my age. None of it made sense to me, really,
Right.
if that makes sense. But so, yeah, I mean, I didn't know it though at the time, that I knew things. I did not know at that time. But when I got older, probably when I got into maybe the 8th grade, is when it really started to dawn on me, because I knew if people. I knew things, and so then I was like, okay, there's something here. But I still didn't really know. I didn't really know what it was.
Right. Yes. I think for me too, it was about that time, because I still remember quite clearly. I was in the 7th grade in the backyard. It was the fall of the year, because my buddies and I were playing football, and I remember we were just playing the game, and I had stopped in the middle of the backyard, and I heard a voice. I mean, it wasn't like somebody talking to me. It was like an inner voice. Yeah. Yep. It said, "This is your last time on Earth." Well, I'm a 7th grader. Okay. Yep. What am I supposed to do with that? I didn't understand what any of that meant, but it stayed with me from that point on. And I didn't realize in my later adult years, when I got into the Merkabas training and all that, and understanding dimensions and densities and the Ascension and what everybody's going through now with humanity and the earth, that, we're moving to a new dimension. And I thought, well, but as a 7th grade boy, I had no idea what that meant. So.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of scary.
All right. Excellent. Okay. All right. So question number 3 then. What does it feel? Of course, you've already kind of answered this too, but what does it feel like to be intuitive in your daily life? I mean, most people they'd get up, they eat breakfast, they go to work, they come home, they're with the family, and they may be doing just 3D things. But you, as an intuitive, what would your day look like, or what does that feel like to you to be intuitive?
So really, there's a huge sense of connectedness to especially nature. I mean, I'm in nature. I make a point to be in nature all the time, and the way that it feels is, I just feel a sense of connectedness. Like, again, like it's a sense of knowing. So really, I mean, my day is, I do get little bits of information during the day, and sometimes, and if I do get that, I'll check in, like, especially if it's one of my friends or something, that I'm getting a message about, or one way that I'm alerted, or whatever you want to say, like the intuition kicks in, that something's going on, is that their name will become repetitive in my psyche, like all day long. Their name will just come about. So I'll be doing something, and then I'll just give you this example, because her name was on my mind for an entire day, and then I finally checked in with her and found out that her husband had died. And so I was doing the dishes, or I was, whatever, getting dressed or doing the dishes, and and Beth kept coming up, and, you know, her name was just coming up. And so then that tells me, you know what, you might want to check in with Beth. And I know that happens to a lot of people. And especially, like, you know, if the phone rings and you're like, oh, that, I feel like that's so-and-so, you know, that too is intuitiveness. Yeah. So, you know, that's basically what it's like during the day. Okay. Is just, you know, there's information that comes, and yeah, and even just about my day, like things that I should or shouldn't be doing, or, you know, whatever you want to call it. You can should on yourself all day long, but yes. You know, it's just, you know, I'll be putting my energy or my effort into something, and something will tell me, like, go do this. And, you know, I'll say, okay, whatever, you know?
So you're very trusting then when you receive this connective communication. You act upon it most of the time or all the time?
I do not question ever.
Good. Excellent.
Ever.
So that would certainly be a key to helping to build our own intuitive sense, to just not question it, to trust.
That is the number one thing I tell people. If they want to cultivate their intuition, do not ever question it. Don't ever doubt it. Don't ever question it. Because it's not a thinking process.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so if other people were to ask you, I can imagine they would ask you, well, how do you know that communication is coming from a good source or a bad source, or how would you decide that, or discern whether it was a good info or not good info?
So I don't, I pray a lot, and I'm in nature a lot, and I do not believe that any information that I get comes from a negative or dark or whatever source other than the light, other than God, other than source. I do not invite information in from any other source. So I am 100% certain that all of the information that I get comes directly from source, directly from God, directly from the light. And I don't even entertain that I don't entertain that, that side, or whatever people want to call it. I don't entertain that.
That's wonderful. So you've got the guardrails up. You know, this is the way it's going to be. This is who I'm going to receive from. It'll always be love and light. And
yes, always.
Yes. And of course,
always.
When you receive something, it feels good, because knowing you're helping someone, you're assisting someone, you're serving others the way your personality is. So I can imagine it always works out great for you, because you're in service to others.
Sure. And I'm not saying that the information that I get is always like, you know, rainbows and butterflies, yes. You know, but that it doesn't mean that it's not coming from source. It's just that, you know, this is the information. And also too, is it good or bad? I don't know, because I don't do good or bad. It's what it is. Yes. You know, this is the information. And so here it is. And, you know, you can do with it whatever you choose to do with it. But coming from me, it's going to be neutral, and it's just going to be what it is, the information, but it's also coming from source, coming from light. I don't entertain anything else. But nope.
Good. Yes.
No.
Yes, that's wonderful. You've already set it up. So this is what's going to happen, and you're going to create it. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm pretty.
I know you said your mom was very intuitive. What was her birthday? What was her astrology sign?
My mom was Capricorn. She was January.
Do you know what her rising or moon signs were?
I don't. She was January 5th, 1942. But
Yes.
I've never done her chart or any of that. But no,
so
my mom, very.
Yeah, so Earth sign, it was intuitive. That's wonderful. My goodness.
Well, I'll tell you that.
Intuitive too, but she was Scorpio. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
But after my mom transitioned, like things intensified, and I actually physically felt it. Like it was like I literally felt her giving me something in my body physically, like almost like somebody pouring, like if you pour tea in your teacup or something. It was this warm flush feeling. I can't explain it, but it was wild. And I remember the day that happened. And after that, it was like whatever information I got, it comes like this.
Yes.
I don't question it. It doesn't matter. You can tell me whatever you want to tell me. I'm going to be like, I'm 99.99999.
Right.
I know, but you can say whatever you want to say, and that's okay.
God, that's wonderful. Like you got to upgrade when your mom made her transition.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Wow. That's from mother to daughter. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that was wonderful. So that's how you feel as an intuitive. Okay, question number 4. How do you increase or evolve or train your intuition, or what are some of the things you do to increase, evolve, or train your intuition?
So, not to brag on myself, but for me, it does come naturally. I feel like that it is like a natural gift that I got, and that I do still need to polish my skills, or whatever, my gift, whatever you want to call it. I do have to do that sometimes when I get into if life becomes overwhelming and I'm doing too many things, or I'm distracted a lot, or maybe I'm overly tired, especially if I'm tired, then, I don't, and I won't commit to having a client if I don't feel like I'm 100%. So how I get back to that, or what I would suggest to other people to do, is get outside. Nature teaches us everything that we need to know about our intuition. And I always tell people, there's a really good book. It's called The Lost Signs of Nature, I believe, something like that. I have it. It's very old. But that book will help you also to cultivate your own intuition through nature signs. If you're not a nature person, then just sitting, meditation helps a lot, because you're blocking out the distractions.
Right.
Even coloring or art or anything that's creative, because you're just in this motion, and then you can help cultivate your intuition that way. Because the one thing that really downgrades your intuition is distractions. So if you can get into places where, you can just meditate or just be quiet, and, the word meditate and meditation, people get so weird about it, because they're like, I can't sit still for 30 minutes. You don't have to. Sit with your cup of coffee, smell your coffee, just be without doing anything. Don't be on your phone. And so really for me, polishing the gift is, I do that with nature, anything with nature, like just sitting outside.
Excellent wisdom here from the Renaissance woman. So make sure you take those notes. Good. Is there a specific chant or mantra or meditation prayer that you would say to get that started, or do you just find yourself outside or with your coffee, with your animals, and you just allow yourself just to fold into nature or just be in that space? Anything special, unique?
Yeah. So I just completely, I do not say anything. Nothing. I literally just go. Can you still hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I think my headset's running out.
Okay.
So no, I don't chant anything. The whole idea is to just get as quiet as you can and to notice the signs around you. Right. And to tap into that. And one really good thing that you can do is I pay attention to the birds. So, they're extremely intuitive, the birds are, and they'll let you know if danger is there or anything. And so all you need to do is just pay attention to these signs. And then that in turn helps cultivate your own intuition.
Yes. Yeah. Like the video you sent us today with the birds, it sounded like something on a PBS or a documentary on nature.
Yeah, they were so happy.
They were chirping and doing their thing. My goodness.
Yeah, they're communicating. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, that would be a wonderful time just to find your stillness and be there with the birds and nature. Like what comes up. Yeah. Wonderful. So those are easy to do things then that people can do. Just be in your own moment, be in the stillness, use nature. Wonderful. Yes.
Yeah, people just overcomplicate things. Like, don't overcomplicate. Keep it so simple, and that is where you're going to find that stillness. Everybody wants to overcomplicate everything. They want to do this whole look. I'm a crystal person. I love nature. I make rattles and drums and things like that. And I love like ritualistic like items and things like that. But you don't need to make a big production out of everything all the time.
Yes, exactly.
You'll get the same results, if not better, not including a whole big like production of stuff. So just go sit outside in nature.
Yes, exactly. Almost like it's the intention of the heart, just be.
Yes.
You're already divine. So just be with the divinity and just know how that wholeness, you'll connect right away. It's automatic.
Yes.
I guess we just got to get out of our own way and get rid of these rules we think we have.
And also too, stop trying to make everything a performance, like for everyone else. There's so much stuff online that, people are creating all these fancy videos and all this stuff, and they bring in all these things or whatever. And it's like, what? That's all. It's all distracting. Just sit and nothing has to be a performance.
Yes, exactly. We don't want to be like the Pharisees in Jesus' time, standing on the corner, bemoaning and wailing, gnashing with teeth, and oh, look at me, I'm so holy, I'm so blessed.
Yes, right. So the people, I always say you can steer clear of those people.
Keep it simple. Okay. All right, doing great. Okay, so number 5, then the last question is, of course, you've already answered this too, but anything else comes up with what can others do to be more intuitive? Of course, you've already given us many, many tools and perspectives.
Yeah.
So anything comes to mind that how we could help others to integrate these skills that you have into their lives?
I mean, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, really, like I said, just nature and keeping everything simple. And just getting into quietness, into silence.
Yes, and when you say that, even though we may live in an urban setting, we still can. Are you talking about the silence within, the stillness within, or I mean, do we need headphones? Do we need to put earplugs in?
Nope.
Or just be within, just our own stillness?
Yeah. So just find a place, find a way. Heck, go lock yourself in your closet, like if you have to, to get away. But really, being in nature is really going to be the closest that you're going to be able to get to really cultivating your intuition.
Yes.
Because nature tells us, and it shows us everything we need to know. Yes. Everything.
Good. So we're not advocating for people to go lock themselves in the closet and tell their family members, I've got to go lock myself in the closet and listen to the voices in my head. That's not what we're talking about.
That's right.
Not right. Right? Yeah.
No.
So just find a way to find the stillness within, some way, somehow, because everybody can do it. I mean, of course, we do it every day. We go to sleep. So we
do.
Stillness, right?
Oh, and also, I wrote something. Also, something that I love to do, that I love to teach people how to cultivate their intuition, is get your family members to put items. I have an item in this bag. To put items in a bag and not tell you what they are. And then get a piece of paper, and you can label them like bag number 1, 2, 3, or whatever, and then get a piece of paper, and then everybody but use your intuition. Sit quietly for a few minutes, and then use your intuition to write down anything that comes to you that you feel from this bag. A color, just keep writing anything that comes to you from this bag. So Dale, does anything come to you from this bag?
I think it's something round, but we'll see.
So, you just do that. The color, like if you get colors, whatever, anything. And then you go back and you empty the bags, and then you check it against your list and see how many things on that list that that could possibly go to what you have in the bag. And you just keep doing that, and that cultivate your intuition.
Right. You're still
Can
there.
you hear me?
Yep, I still hear you. Yeah. So really, that's almost like an intuitive Easter egg hunt. That would be wonderful to do, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You're still good.
I have my
And so how about any particular food or drinks that you would do that would help you with this maintaining this sort of stillness within? Because I know you're very much very health conscious about the foods that we eat, what we drink.
So really my biggest thing is just keep down on the sugar, and and then as least amount of processed food as possible. I don't advocate for any like diet or anything like that. I was vegan for a long time. I was vegetarian for a long time. I totally eat meat now, and I I just stay with foods that I get locally, that are grown locally, and nothing out of a package. So, those things are going to really dull your senses.
Right. Okay. All right. Excellent.
But, you have to use your own intuition for that, because I can't tell you what to eat or drink, for your body.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Well, wonderful tips, Heidi. Thanks for asking or answering all those questions in a marvelous way and in a very 3D way, to bring something so subjective into a 3D understanding. So, finding that place of stillness, keeping things very simple, trust yourself. Don't ever question the info that you're receiving.
Never.
So those are just wonderful highlights of how you've defined how you're an intuitive and how you can help others to really beef up their skills by being that. So being very trusting, that's a big one, because, we want to be intuitive and we get some information and then we don't do anything physically to about it. So we just kind of let it go by the wayside. So our consciousness kind of doesn't trust what we're getting now at that standpoint. But you've solved that problem, because you've already told your consciousness, no, what I get is coming from the source of love and light, and I know it's true for me. So, that's a wonderful way to set things up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's kind of frustrating sometimes. I'll give you an example. I had a client that, that called about an animal, and I gave her the information that came, and then she came back and said, "No, that's not happening. There's nobody in this house that's doing that." And then, like a week later, or I think it was 4 or 5 days later, I got a message, having her apologize, saying, "Yeah, my husband kind of, and my son kind of, and, but I never, when she said, no, there's no one in this house doing that. I just said, okay,
Yes. Exactly.
because I know."
Right.
And that's okay. You take whatever, take the information. But, a lot of people, if somebody says, "No, that's not how it is," or "No," or whatever, then you might go back and question, like, okay, maybe I'm wrong,
Right. Yes.
and maybe sometimes you might be, but if you really, really, really hone in on your intuitive skills, you're not going to be wrong.
Right. Yes. And remember, folks, this is a live chat. So if you have any questions for Heidi or me, then please just type it in, and we'll see if we can get you an answer. So Heidi, do you do any type of intuitive card work, like tarot cards or animal cards? Do you do anything like that to help with your intuitive counseling with people or places or things?
So I do. I use cards if the person wants me to use cards.
Yes.
And that's a really good tool. And that's a good tool for people who are just starting out. You can practice. I wouldn't start with the tarot. I would start with the oracle cards, just because they're easy and the messages are, they're more interpretive,
Right.
for when you're trying to build your intuitiveness. So, and they also, a lot of them come with a little book that will help you. But you just find decks that you that you resonate with, and then get those and start with yourself. And one of the ways that you can do is just pull one card every single morning and just ask a question, whatever it is. Generally, my favorite question is, what do I need to know today? What do my spirit guides want me to know
Right.
today? And for my highest good. And then
Right.
I pull the card, and then I interpret the message intuitively. And I'll read the book also sometimes, just to see if it sort of matches up with what I'm getting. And so then that gives you also another, what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah. Builds your
It gives you
confidence.
another confirmation,
Yes.
that you're on the right path of your intuitive skills.
Yes. Okay. And for that oracle card you mentioned, do you know the specific title or the author of that, so people could look that up? Or
Oh, so I probably have about 20 decks.
okay.
And so I will intuitively, if they want me to use cards, I will pick out of those decks.
Right.
I have some that are really, really old,
Yes.
and I have some newer ones.
Right.
And one deck in particular, I love crows, or any kind of birds of prey. So I have a lot of birds of prey cards. So there's a woman, MJ McCullen. She does crow decks, and she also does a lot of other animal decks. But her crow decks and her raven decks are so beautiful, and they're just so fun. And so I love her. And she's also a small business. She's a woman, that she makes her own cards, and she's a small business. So I like supporting her, but her cards are phenomenal. They're really, really good cards.
Oh, and what's her name again?
Her name is MJ McCullen.
MJ McCullen. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Folks can look that up too.
Yeah.
any other tools that you favor using? Because I know you make tools, you make drums and
I do.
spirit tools and wands and things like that. So any special tools that you really love to have while you're doing your intuitive work?
So the biggest thing that I like, and again, like I said, I don't, I really don't make things a big production, but I love to hold a quartz crystal, a big one. I have a wisdom keeper, if that makes sense to anyone. It's a big, huge wisdom keeper point. And I like to hold that sometimes when I'm doing having a client session. Because it keeps a clear channel. So I'm not interfering in any way.
Right.
Because we can interfere, in a way of things that we want to be true, or if it's a person that we have a particular fondness for or something, we'll want things to be a certain way for them. And it's not, so we have to really become a hollow bone and say that this information, it's not coming from me, it's coming from source, it's coming from God, it's coming from light, and just be that hollow bone so that you don't interfere in any way, with your mind. And
Right.
so a lot of times that quartz crystal will help me. And because it's a wisdom keeper, it also holds a lot of information. So that is helpful to me also.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so you used the term. I want to make sure folks in the audience and the replay know what you meant by that. So would you, like we talked about a hollow bone, so could you define that maybe in a 3D way so people would know what that means?
So what that means is it basically just means that you get yourself into a state or a mental capacity where you're not, where your information is coming from the heart and not the mind, and that it's not your information, that you're just basically just, because I'm visual, I visualize the hollow bone. So, you can think of a marrow bone and, you scraped all the marrow out, and just, picture yourself as that hollow bone where the information comes from source, and you're basically downloading that information. It's not you thinking. You're not thinking. You're not using your head. You're not, you're not thinking anything. So you're just, this information is just coming in to you, and you're bringing that information out from your heart-centered space.
Yes.
So to be that hollow bone is to just allow that information to come through you.
Yes. So
we're not from you.
Right. So we're not trying to block it or discern it at the time. We're just allowing that info to just straight in. All right. Good. We had let me see, Amanda responded. Let's see. Love the idea of the use of the quartz. Yes, indeed. Thanks, Maya. Thank you so much for. Yeah, love those crystal quartz. Now, you said crystal quartz. Are there other stones that you favor too for your intuitive work?
So you can. So there's yeah. So any of the blue stones are good for intuition, for your pineal gland. They're good, for your mind's eye, your third eye. Any like blue stone. A lot of people use lapis, but there's some controversy over, the mining of the lapis. So I don't suggest that to anyone, but it is, and it has been proven. So if you have lapis, I would use that because it has been proven to have, very opening properties, where it helps to open your third eye. So the lapis is really good, but really any blue stone that you're called to. Celestite is another one that I love because that we consider that an angel stone, or you can use angel light. So that connects you to light source also. But really, I just, for me and my, my own personal use, I would just stick with quartz because it is the highest healer of all the crystals, and it's clear. And so to me, I just feel like, I'm getting that that clear message, and just the groundedness of the quartz, and the quartz understands all. So it's, it doesn't require anything. You don't have to do anything. It will ground you and balance you, and it will also keep you clear to receive that information. But you play around with the stones. People can play around with stones and see what works for them, but I just prefer the clear quartz.
Oh, wonderful.
And sometimes if a client is in front of me and they and I feel like they're scattered, or if they're really stressed, or they're, just whatever, they can't calm down, I give them a big piece of quartz to hold while I'm doing their session. And then I'm able to get a clear read.
Yes. Okay. That is wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Heidi. Wonderful information on the intuitive way and how to use that with mind, body, and spirit. Lots of things to think about, to make sure those who are interested go back and listen to the video again, and get that notebook out and take those wonderful notes on how to be intuitive from Heidi's perspective. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm hoping that we'll have some more interviews this week. So Friday we have 2 coming up, and Saturday we have 1. And I'm looking for the other 2 to make an appointment soon too. So thank you, Heidi. Any lasting words for our folks? Excuse me. Any lasting work for our folks for the intuitive sense?
Just get out there and get in nature, and get out of your way, and practice your intuitive skills, and play the game at home with your family.
That's right.
It's so fun.
Your shaman Easter egg hunt, right? That's what we're going to do. Wonderful. So thank you, Heidi. All right, good. Let me take us to so let's do a pow. Remember, pow is Hawaiian, means it's all over. PAU. So on 3, we'll clap our hands and shout pow. Ready? 1, 2, 3, pow. Wonderful. So thank you so much, Heidi, for being here with us. And thank you to all those who watched the show and were here with us, and those on replay. So we thank you very much for being here. Many blessings, many aloha. And as I say in Hawaii, till we meet again, a hui ho. So much aloha. And we love y'all. And love you, Heidi. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, yeah.
All right, let me get us something to get us out of here. And here we go. Okay. Aloha.